What is this? That's right, this is a map. And maps are important to GIS. Actually, important isn't the right word. There is a plethora of other words that describe the importance of maps to GIS. Maps are vital. Maps are fundamental. Maps are an intrinsic component of GIS. Maps are the cornerstone of GIS. Maps are GIS. And so it's kind of a puzzle to me how I've discussed GIS in videos for this long without having actually made, and more importantly, taught you how to make a map. It is downright irresponsible, and this video is well overdue. So today, I want to teach you the basics of making a simple map. So anyway, let's take this to the computer. A good map needs at least 3 things: a good title, a good legend, and data citations. It also could use 2 other things. It could use a scale bar and a north arrow, rather it's called a compass. And again, you can add on other things to your own artistic design and liking. But for now, let's take this to QGIS. Alright, so we're going to start from scratch again. We already know how to add the delimited layers, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Latitude, longitude, projections the same, close that. Data points, we're going to go to symbology. We're going to make the size much bigger than before, because I realize I actually want to make these a little larger. We're going to categorize them. We're going to use reds. We're going to customize the reds. That's going to be pure red. That's going to be pure white. Classify. What up? Oh. Yes, that's what I want. Yeah, sounds about right. Alright, now for the legend, I'm just going to quickly convert these over because it'll probably be easier to do it here than in the other place, but it doesn't really matter. This is just a little quality of life, ease of convenience. And I could just put midnight. Alright, just going to go ahead and apply that. Don't need to check that. I'm also going to rename this layer to locations, just locations. It shows up nicer on the legend. Alright, and I'm forgetting something. This is important. Right now, when I look at these data points, I don't actually know what I mean, technically I know what I'm looking at because I've memorized all these data points, but if I didn't, like any normal human would, who's looking at this map for the first time, we need labels. So, under symbology, we have labels. I'm going to go single label. I'm going to go under here for name, and if I just go ahead and apply that, it's going to throw the names up on this very noisy, blurry background. I can't really read anything. The fix to that is adding a buffer or a mask, though I think in this case a buffer would be better, so we're going to enable the buffer. We're going to apply that, and now all of the text has a little white background behind it, makes it a lot more readable. Some of the points are really close together, like Kushida Shrine and Canal City are so close that you can't even really see until you zoom in a bit, and that, yeah, can be a little problematic, but I mean, for 90% of the other data points, it works out fine, and that's all we really need to worry about. So, this is basically where we left off in the other video, Now, to actually make a map, we need to create a print. And the way we do that is we go to Project, New Print Layout. We're going to give it a name, call it Speedrun, hit OK, and it's going to open up an entirely new window with a new set of tools. And this is essentially where we're going to end up printing everything. So we have a set of tools here. We have a pan tool, a zoom tool, we have a cursor content move. Sorry, this is a move tool, and then this is a content move tool. I'll explain to you the difference between those in just a second. We're not going to need to edit nodes right now. We're going to do, and then the rest of the information that we need for making a map essentially comes in sequentially. So add map adds the map, 3D map if you have a 3D map, add a picture if there is some, I don't know if you want to put a logo on there or something, you can add a picture. Add text or labels, or call it labels, for general text that we need to put on there. This is for legends. This is a scale bar. This is a north arrow or a compass. And then we add shapes and some other such stuff, arrows, if we need that. Let's start nice and simple and start with the map. So we're just going to go ahead, click. It's going to open up some stuff for us here. And I'm just going to pull this up to the corner. It's going to snap automatically, and I'm going to pull this down, and it's going to cover the whole area. And let it load up a bit. Okay, it looks great. It looks great, but could be better. So I want to zoom in a bit here. Now I can't zoom in. If I click zoom like this is going to zoom in literally to the canvas and not to the map itself. So what I need to do is I need to use the content move tool. So the content move tool moves the content of the map versus the frame of the map. So you can see it updates now. So this is a bit of a different way of moving. We're moving literally the contents. Now I don't want to look at the ocean, I want to look at this entirely, and I want to be a little closer. So now if I scroll zoom on my mouse, it's going to take a little while, but it'll load up eventually like this. Nice. I'm just going to keep moving this over until all of my data points are in the frame. Kyushu National Museum is the eastmost point, and then Fukuoka Tower is the westmost point, so everything should be in frame here. I'm pretty happy with how this looks. Just going to leave it as is. Now we're going to go to the next tool here, and that is a label. What label am I going to put here? This is our title. So when we put it in, initially, it's just going to give us a box here. And so in order to actually change the text, we're going to go on down here to the right, and main properties. I'm going to call this, if I wanted to, I could just call it title. We'll see it changes over here to title. I'm going to call this Fukuoka Speedrun Map. You can see here that text is super small, and so what I need to do is I'm going to go to font, hit the font, and I'm going to go to the actual font here, and I'm just going to increase the size until it's big enough for what I want it to be. And I'm also just going to move this onto the map so I can get a good reference size, and I'm also going to center it. How do I center it? Centering is going to happen, I'm going to center it after. It doesn't need to be this big, obviously, but I just want it to be this big. Alright, it should be good. Okay, it's a little hard to see. So, what we can do, first of all, I want to center it. This is horizontal alignment, vertical alignment. That centers it to the box. And I need a background. So I'm just going to go here to background, check background, gives me a white background. I'm not losing data. I'm not losing a lot of data from the top of this map here. But if it really did concern you, yeah, you could just kind of shrink it down like that. Yeah, either way would work. You know, this is really the artistic component of GIS, you know, just like make a map that you think looks nice, Period. That's it. I don't have anything else to say. I'm not a designer. I'm not like an artist, you know, tools of design or whatever theory of colors and stuff. My general rule of advice is just make things that are clear to look at and intuitive. And you just get a sense of that as you go along. So I'm not going to explain that. I'm doing a great job of teaching. Alright, so now that we have our title, we need a legend. This is our legend box. We're going to do the same thing we did with the title, click, and it's going to give us an automatic legend, just like that. Nice, nice, nice. So this is, well, I mean, that is the legend. And matter of fact, I kind of want to combine them if that looks kind of nice. It looks okay. So here we can see that it gives us all of our data, but there are some points of data that we don't use, like this offset data, right? The one that doesn't have it has null information. I don't need that here. So what am I going to do? I'm going to disable the auto update. I'm going to go here and I'm just going to boom, delete it. Same with world imagery. World imagery is the backdrop that we're seeing in the back. We don't need to know what that is because it's pretty self-explanatory. So again, delete that. Now our legend is a lot more readable. All right, we have a title, a legend, and this one's important, data citations. I don't know if this is the standard for all maps everywhere, but it's kind of important, I feel. We input a text box, and we're going to start with author. The author is me. Sorry, don't actually put me. I'm just going to put Luke, and then in brackets I'm going to put me because it's obvious that I'm the one who wrote this. We need a data source. And the data source is I mean, again, this doesn't need to, there is technically a standardized way of citing data. So if I did collect data from like a third party or like from the government or from a library or somewhere, I would properly cite them. In this case, I'm the one who collected the data. I don't need to cite like Google Maps. That's just the tool that I use to get the data. I'm the data source. The data source is me. So I'm just going to put me. Anyway. Lastly is the projection. And if you remember from the last video, I hadn't changed it. It's a WGS 84. That's our projection. And now anytime anyone is looking at our map, they can know exactly what data we use and what the projection is. I'm going to make it a little bigger so it's a little more readable. I'm going to pull it out a bit. Squish down. And put this down in the corner. And look, we can't really see it. So what am I going to do? You already know the answer. I'm going to go to a background. There, just like that. Alright, and that's our map. Basically, this is the basic components of a map. If I wanted to be a little better about this, I could add here a scale bar. And we could play around with the scale bar a little bit here, but basically, the scale bar here just says 2 kilometers out, and then it has the nominations for 1 kilometer and 2 kilometers. I'm going to put a background here again, so it's more visible. Lastly, north arrow. That's also pretty explanatory, self-explanatory. So it's just an arrow that points north, so you know the orientation of the map. I'm going to put it next to the scale bar, just like that. Alright, I'll tell you what actually, because I might actually use this little bottom part. Alright, and that is my artistic interpretation of all of this data. And that's like the most basic I can make it. When you're happy with what you've made, you're gonna go here, and there's a couple different options of what you could do. You could print the layout if you have a printer. You could save it as an Adobe PDF. You could save it as an image. I personally like PDFs, so I'm just gonna save it as a PDF and print it out later. Alright, and that is basically that is the basics of making a map in QGIS. The principles are about the same in ArcGIS or other mapping GIS tools that you'll be able to use, and that is the map that I'm going to use when I speedrun Fukuoka. So that'll be fun. Until then, take care. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something new. I will see you in the next video.